Maybe go on this end to make sure we live.
You doing the Instagram as well?
Nah, man, I ain't even set it up,
Okay,
man.
okay,
It's,
okay,
uh, it kind of lagged a little bit. I seen, so
okay.
I didn't do it, and I guess it's and it may be just on my end. So, but we live now. Let's do this. But we'll be right back after this. There you go. I ain't even got the music cued. There we go.
Go, Griot. Go, Griot. Go, Griot. I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages for the street stone. Adios mio, made it get about the Afro-Latinos. Drop their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a Griot. In the form of a Griot.
You be lit right in there too.
Hey, Kofi.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Kofi. I'm about to go in the studio one day and add me a verse on that thing, man. Add me a old hot 16 on the back of that thing, Dr. Wade. Maybe old hot 8. Old hot 8. Dr. Wade. You know I can do it.
Should.
You know I can do it.
Should.
You know I can do it.
Well, welcome back
Get on there.
to the Griot Podcast. Let's give a round of applause for the Griot Podcast one time. Peace tell, man. I am one of the hosts of the Griot Podcast. But let me stop because Sean got me to get my manners back in order, and I appreciate my brother for that. So let my sister, ladies first. I'm gonna be a gentleman.
Okay. That's what this. Okay, I'm saying I had to put that together. What up, good and wonderful people? Welcome to the Griots Podcast. I'm so excited that I'm one of the 3 amazing hosts. My name is Dr. Ashley Wade. I am a pharmacist. I'm an author. I'm an avid reader, community and literacy advocate. I'm also the curator of Corks and Covers Silent Book Club and a host of other things that I enjoy doing because, listen, this is what we believe in. All of us is maximizing our potential and tapping in, to all the places that fit our vision and our dreams, right? So let me kick it on over to Sean. Let the people know what's up.
What up, what it is, good people? Peace. It's your man, Sean P., the host of the Sean P. Experience, sitting with the Griots, where I interview authors and creators and whatever. I'm another part of the Griot Podcast. Also the curator of the Literacy and Libations Book Club here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Published speaker 10 times. Self-published author 10 times for the mind. And pass the ball to my man, Kofi. Take that loud. Don't that thing.
All right. I am Kofi Piesie. I'm a writer. I'm an author, a ghostwriter, entrepreneur, a content creator, an independent researcher, a public speaker, a lecturer. And we also have to start doing this as well. Peace, Sister Juju. We also have to start doing this too. We have to start mentioning that we are nominated authors.
Facts.
Black nonfiction, right? So we are nominated. We didn't win, but we are nominees. We are nominated. So that's us in a nutshell, the Griot Podcast. Host, please like and share the show. I'm guaranteed. And also, before we get into everything, grab you a pen and piece of paper. Like, we've really been dropping a lot of information these last couple of episodes. So please tap in. Juju, I got my stuff together. I know you was helping me out with my sound check last night. I'm good now, Juju. But please take your pen and paper out, man, and jot some of this stuff down and then go back and do your own research extensive research. It can't do nothing but empower you, motivate you, and inspire you on your own journey. So let's get into it, man. Before we get started, I always want to run down the outline of the show. Let me pull up somewhere else so I ain't got two computers in front of my face today. So
Oh, really? Hey, that's something. Really?
so let's
I'm not in the Star Trek Enterprise today.
yeah. So the outline of the show, we always want to honor a teacher, a writer, an author, a revolutionary, or someone from the past or present. That's something that's a segment that my brother Seanathan Polidore does. The Griot Podcast is another segment, which is we have to inform the people what a Griot and a Griots is. The commercial segment is briefly promoting our books, products, or anybody else's books or products for that matter. If you want your stuff promoted, or what you got going on. Discussion segment. So we have either discussion segment or we have, and that go Ibaka. Peace Ibaka. Ibaka is the one behind the music, behind the Griot Podcast music.
Peace.
Hey, brother, you
I love that theme song, man.
I gotta add an A piece onto that thing, brother.
So today we're in the discussion segment. We'll be talking about Black August and some of the political activists and so forth. The woman segment is a briefly segment that our sister does, Dr. Ashley Wade, where we always want to honor and give flowers to our women who have contributed something to the value of political world, writing world, author world, business world, medical world, or the academia world. That is my favorite segment out of all because, we have to. This is a male-driven society, and a lot of times we talk more about the men than we do the women. So I'm glad we have that segment. I'm glad Dr. Ashley Wade is able to share impactful and powerful women from the past and from the present. All right. So now that we have that out the way, let's go into the opening segment by my brother, my fellow Griot, Seanathan Polidore. Please like and share the show. Please, I see y'all coming on in. Please come on in, like and share the show, and share the show with somebody that you think that may appreciate the show. Peace to chatty bookish chick. That's her.
In the building. Happy
Kofi getting tongue tied.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Open this segment, man. One of my of all the Black Panther characters you hear about over and over again. One particular guy, one of my favorite Black Panthers. In so many books I've read, his name comes up repeatedly, right? And I had the honor and the blessing of meeting the brother one time. We had a private 40-minute conversation, man. It happened in passing, right? I'm talking about Geronimo Pratt. Geronimo Pratt. I'm from Franklin, Louisiana. Geronimo Pratt is from Morgan City, Louisiana, which is about 30 minutes or less away from where I'm from. So one of our local heroes, right? Groomed up under the Deacons of Defense in Morgan City as a young man. So he went to the military to learn military strategy and weaponry for the reason of liberating Black and brown people. He went there on purpose to bring it back, to infuse our people, right? I'm gonna give you his rundown for today's honoring segment. We have Geronimo Pratt, born Richard Pratt, 1948, and became involved in the Black Panther Party in the late 1960s. He was a prominent member of the party's Los Angeles chapter. He had an alleged murder and arrest, right? Alleged murder case. He was arrested in 1969 and charged with murder of a police officer, of all things, a police officer. Despite a lack of physical evidence, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, right? He spent decades in prison, fighting for his freedom through numerous appeals. His case became a symbol of racial injustice and police misconduct. He was exonerated and released in 1997. Evidence against him had been discredited, and it was revealed that the prosecution had withheld key information from the jury. After his release, He became an advocate for social justice and racial equality. His case continues to be a significant example of wrongful conviction. We are today a running theme today in the importance of reforming criminal justice system, right? So in this book, I'm showing you the last man standing. Unfortunately, life is lived forward. You can't go backwards.
Facts.
I met Geronimo Pratt, and I had read certain Panther books before that conversation. I was so glad and excited to talk to him in person about it. I regret not knowing he had his own book. I regret not being able to read this book before I talked to him. And he's so humble thinking back on it right now in real time. When I was talking to him, he didn't even stop me and say, I got a book, right?
And shoulda, he would have been well within his
book. When we chopped it up, he didn't even mention this, right? See this book thick. A lot of the court case stuff is in here. A lot of the actual court documents, legal documents is all public information. All those things are inside this book, man. So definitely holler at Last Man Standing. Shout out Geronimo Pratt. Part of the Shakur lineage. Tupac Shakur is definitely mentor and everything else. So Geronimo Pratt, open the segment.
All right, shout out. And for people who don't know who the Deacons of Defense is, go back, run it back to episode 7, entitled All Rise. I talk about the Deacon of Defense. So, we all talked about the Deacon of Defense. So if you don't know about who the Deacon of Defense is, please go back and check out that episode and check out the book about Deacon of Defense. I gave the name of the Deacon of Defense. I didn't have the book on hand, and I got to reorganize a lot of my stuff. A lot of my books are packed in totes because I have books everywhere. But I did mention the name of the book on there, so go check that out and get that book for Deacon of Defense.
Look how sad the education is, right? Because I become a grown man, learn about all this stuff.
Right.
Hearing about other states and other places, right? North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, not knowing they had Deacons of Defense right here in my backyard, right down the street. Never hearing this from any elder, like anybody. Forget school itself. Any elder, any institution I'm involved with, I'm around. I'm not hearing about the Deacons of Defense.
Yep. And that's crazy. I didn't learn, and it's right in my backyard, and Louisiana is 2 hours away. And never learned about who the Deacons of Defense was until, I don't know, maybe I can't remember. It was recently, maybe 16. No. It was 17. I went to the museum in Natchez. They got a museum, small historical museum down there. And that's where I learned about the Deacons of Defense down there at the museum in Natchez. So that's been some years back, but still recently. I'm an overgrown man at that point. So,
but that that goes to what you were talking about on the live you did yesterday with Black Book Club. Like we do have to teach ourselves. We have to learn and be willing to read so we can put the full picture together. Even though it's learning, we learn a little bit late. Like we can do our part to catch up to the truth. You know what I'm saying? And then as I learn, we all learn, right? Push that information forward.
Yes, that's right. And that's definitely what we're doing over here on this podcast. Peace to everybody in the chat, man. Everybody. So peace to everybody in the chat. I see Brother Anthony. Peace. I forgot to speak to my brother Zane. My good brother Zane. Good to see you again. I see our good sister Dear B in the building. Peace to her as well in the building. So let's get to the Griot segment real quick. We're going to get into discussion. We got to get these segments out the way, y'all. Y'all just hold tight. We got that info coming. We got that fire info coming for you, baby. Just word. Don't worry about this Griot. We have to go through this segment because some people, I know a lot of people, some of our recurring visitors on the platform who we appreciate, who pile in the chat every time we do a show. Peace to Teddy Usher, my aunt Ross and Neferu. Peace to you too, brother. And Tim, peace, Tim. If I didn't speak to you, peace, Tim. Glad to see you again. So, but we have to keep reiterating what a griot and what a griotte is. For the people who may listen to this later on, or people who may discover us later on in life, So Um, a griot is a unique to West Africa. The griot or jali is a professional encompass many roles. The griot, pronounced griot, has been refused as a historian or a storyteller, but there is no real word in the English language to include their functions. The composing musicians, the teachers, students, or actors, or diplomats, they are genialists, historians, spokespersons, ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiators, mediators. Not everyone does all those things, but these are all examples of that embody a griot or a griotis, right? A griotis facilitate a lot of those roles as well as a praise singer as well. And all of the griots and the griotis do not facilitate all of those roles, but they facilitate some of those roles. So now, and I know a lot of people are familiar with the griots and griotis. So a lot of people who we encounter with know the griots to be just storytellers. So when I ask, they always give a thing of them being a storyteller, but there are much more to storytelling. You know, the storytellers praise singers, they're musicians, they're interpreters, they're masters of ceremonies, they're negotiators, they're mediators, they're warriors, and there are teachers. So, you know, there you have it with this segment of what is a griot and a griotis, or what is the roles of a griot and a griotis. So next, let's go into the commercial segment real quick before we get into the discussion segment. So we're just going to run something, and we want to mention something real quick. First, what I want to do is I want to put up this masterpiece. Let me 1 second, y'all. I want to put this masterpiece up here.
It's gonna
So
be the drum roll for me.
yeah. So they're acting on your dreams and vision, y'all. If y'all don't have this book, y'all is missing out. Please go get this book, right? We are real excited about a lot of opportunities that are coming down the pipeline with this project. We have got a lot of great reviews. We met our target with the goal we wanted to sell. It's been selling books afterwards. We met our goal. So we greatly appreciate the support. We greatly appreciate the people who read the book and the people who gave their reviews on the book, which has been nothing but phenomenal reviews. But if there was somebody that didn't like it and want to share, we open to critique as well. Bring it on, you know. So, but we're excited about this. Acting on Your Dreams and Vision workbook. If you don't have the workbook, now we have a workbook connected to the main book that has exercises in this workbook that is pertaining to the main book. But also with this workbook, we have a class. I'm going to let my sister, Dr. Wade, talk about the workshop, the class that we have coming up. You on mute, sir.
Yeah, I was like, let me get that together real quick. So, we are really excited about this class that we prepared for y'all. In a nutshell, this is an immersive experience. So it's kind of like a one-on-one session with the authors. You cannot find that these days, and you really can't beat that as far as time spent, quality time in the personal development. And this is what we're trying to share with you because we all believe in helping people. We all want to help each other be uplifted in the various ways that we know how to do so. And that's what we're bringing to you through this class. So there's going to be, of course, activities from the workbook, breakout sessions in the class. You're going to hear from the authors directly to guide you through some of the activities that they created. And I said guide, like folks paying, hundreds of dollars, and they're really not being guided. They're not being open to facilitating real change. You know what I'm saying? And that's what our book is about, acting on your dreams and visions. We want you to act on those, and we want to guide you through that. So go to my website if you're interested, readwithdrwade.com, readwithdrwade.com. That's where you can register for the class. I need to check on the discount code. There's a discount code that you can use at checkout, Action25. I'll check on it when I get it during this podcast recording, and then it should be updated where you can receive 25% off the class.
Yeah.
Do that. Then go to SameTreeDifferentBranchPublishing.com get the book, get the workbook. So you'll be ready for class. You know, we talked about at some point, I think Kofi's interview talked about adult classes. You know what I'm saying? That's where we are. We adults need to learn. Kofi just addressed the fact that, you know, and Sean learned certain things later in life. That's what we're trying to continue to facilitate, that adult learning style. How can we teach each other? How can we learn from each other? And then use that to boost and activate our dreams and visions and walk around in our manifestations. You know what I'm saying? Sharing that energy with y'all. So definitely register for the class. It starts September the 7th. So you do have some time to get registered for it, but we're ready to roll it out. So Action 25 for your 25% discount. readwithdrwade.com. Can't wait to see y'all in class.
I just want to add one last thing on that, man. For almost 20 years now, for various reasons, I've joined so many online classes of different sorts. I've been a part of various communities and things. And even if a person gives you some little videos to go and click on, that's cool. Or a person might come every once in a while and chime in, and then they leave. They have their staff facilitate somebody else. If you go to an Eric Thomas event, other kind of people, Tony Robbins, you name a person, that's great. I love all of their stuff. But the direct access to us is crazy.
Facts.
The direct access to us is unmatched. And even beyond class, I'm more than sure, if you inbox or email any one of us, we're going to get back to you in a timely fashion. And I can't guarantee that in other places. So I just leave on that note right there.
Yes, and before we move on, I just want to say, you know, I keep talking about, and I'm gonna keep reiterating this. We have to seize when an opportunity presents itself, you have to seize the opportunity, right? And we have to stop being complainers. We have too many people that are now, I know too many professional complainers, right? They want their circumstances to change, but they not willing to put the work in. They want to be a professional complainer, right? So we have to understand and we have to learn that the time is now when you have to invest in yourself, right? Nobody is going to save you but yourself. So we go spend money on frivolous things, and we go spend money on things that are a liability. This workshop is going to be definitely an asset for you. Your money will be well spent, and we're not asking that much for the workshop, right? So go and sign up for the workshop today. A lot of you got the books. So all you need is the workbook now. So go get the workbook, because you got to have the workbook and the book in order to be a part of the workshop. And I'm telling you, it's going to be an experience, and it's a class. And I'm guaranteed you're going to get things out of this class. There's going to be things you're going to have to take home. There's going to be project building. There's going to be assignments. There's going to be additional reading. It's going to be tons of stuff, right? So please, again, take advantage of this workshop. September the 7th is the workshop. September the 7th is the workshop. Again, like my sister said, go to readwithdrwade.com right now and go register for the workshop. Again, you got to have the Acting on Your Dreams and Vision main book and the Acting on Your Dreams workbook to be in the class, right? And you're going to have, it's 4 sessions every other Saturday. So go take the opportunity and invest in yourself today. Invest in yourself. If you're tired of being a professional complainer, you tired of daydreaming about where you want to be in life, go take this class right now. Go take this class. And I'm going to leave it on that note. And we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this this presentation.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can do it. Sean can do it. Or Dr. Wade, you can do it for as, in the slides, like what is Black August? Let's kind of discuss Black August before we talk about
Lay that down for us, Sean.
You go ahead, Dr. Wade.
I'll do it if you want to. I got them on the slides right here. I can just, something real brief. So I'll do it. So what is Black August? So a lot of people may not know what is Black August. I know some of you that's on social media, y'all probably been seeing it. Black August. This is the month of Black August. We celebrating the whole month of Black August, right? This is a celebration. August is a celebration, right? So what is Black August? Black August is an annual commemoration and prison-based holiday to remember Black political prisoners, Black freedom struggles in the United States and beyond. It highlights Black resistance against racial, colonial, and imperialism oppression. It takes place during the entire calendar month of August. So this is not one day. This celebration goes the entire month of August, and it is to celebrate our Black political prisoners, our Black freedom fighters or freedom strugglers that struggle doing, in the United States. Go ahead, Sean.
So I want to add on the reason why that is, right? Key dates and events. August the 5th. The
Mhm.
Central Day of Black August commemorates the assassination of Malcolm X. On this date, 1965, Malcolm X was a prominent civil rights leader and advocate for self-determination. August the 7th, the birthday of George Jackson, one of the Soledad brothers, is celebrated. Jackson was a prominent activist and political prisoner who was killed in a shootout with the police. So these are two key prominent dates for Black August.
Yes, yes, yes. So who started Black August? In 1979, members of the Black Guerrilla family and San Quentin State Prison in California started Black August to honor the lives of George and Jonathan Jackson, who died at a prison in 1970 and 1971. Their annual observance was created by Black freedom fighters to recognize the death of Black political prisoners killed by the state, to raise awareness of the prison conditions and to honor the Black traditions of resistance against the anti-Black violence and oppression. Who is the Black Guerrilla family? The Black Guerrilla family is also known as the Black family of the Black Vanguards. It is an African American Black Power prison gang, street gang, and political organization founded in 1966 by George Jackson, which Sean just mentioned, Big Jake Lewis, W.L. Nolan, while they were incarcerated at San Quentin State Prison in in Marion County, California. So this is, Sean, you got something?
Yeah, we're talking about the educational piece for this episode, the educational piece for this holiday, Black August. If I had a microphone and a camera and just walked around community, random people, random store, Walmart, hey, what's Black August? So many people don't know what this is.
Thanks.
I love to always highlight that because sometimes in these communities we are part of, a lot of us are reading some of the same books. A lot of us see some of the same documentaries and videos. So we all feel like, man, I know that. Like 2 plus 2 is 4. Who don't know that? Some people in this world don't know what 2 plus 2 is, still, believe it or not. So the same way we can't just all assume it. We know Jonathan Jackson. We know Angela Davis.
Right.
We know Geronimo Pratt. We're still doing this work because it's still vital for us to repeat this thing until more and more people get it, right?
Yep, most definitely. I'm guaranteed, a lot of people don't know about Black August, man. And even if some people are familiar, let's talk about some of the things. Well, I'll run a little list down of how you celebrate Black August, because this is a holiday. The entire month is a holiday dedicated to those individuals, right? The Black freedom fighter of our political prisoners, right? How do you study? How Black August is celebrated? Studying revolutionary texts. So if you're just now getting familiar with this holiday, the entire month of August, so how do I go about celebrating this holiday that we're calling Black August, right? Studying revolutionary texts, right?
Thanks.
Go look up some of those revolutionary activists and organizations, right? Who organize, and protest, right? Fasting is another way. So, fasting is always a good thing. I do that every day, which I do intermittent fasting. I only eat one time a day, and fast a few hours, well, more than 16 to 18 hours, but fasting is always good. Exercising is another way to celebrate it. Abstinence from drugs, alcohol, and mainstream media is another way to celebrate it. Engaging in dialogues about prison reform, food, and the Black maternal health crises, right? So those are ways on how you can celebrate Black August, right? So
And you mentioned going to those tapes, man. I talked about this a long time ago. So many people they look at MLK, MLK Day, wear the T-shirts and all
Right,
that.
right, right.
Even Malcolm X, looking at other people, but they have never literally like read their actual books.
mhm,
Like not books about Malcolm X. What did they actually write?
Right.
Have you ever actually like listened to them speak on YouTube or Spotify? You can find their speeches everywhere for free or very cheap. Have you ever sat and listened to MLK himself speak or hear Malcolm X and his thoughts?
mhm.
Not what you heard about, but yourself listening to the primary source. Jonathan Jackson, Fred Hampton. You go on YouTube, you can find footage of these people talking in motion, some black and white, a lot of color. Huey P. Newton. See for yourself how these people went about, advocating what they was advocating.
Yeah.
Facts. And then you do have to study it. I love that the first part is studying revolutionary text. So many of our community members are afraid for whatever reason to talk about the party. And I'm not saying that we don't have a reason because we know what happened, which is involved in their story. But ultimately, the intellectual level that they was on,
Mm.
these are people, we say revolutionaries because we misunderstand that concept. Angela Davis speaks about the misunderstanding of that word right there, what it means to be revolutionary. But these are people who were your prime intellectuals at early ages, 19, 20. They've done so many deep studies of other cultures, other liberated cultures, other oppressed cultures all over the world. And I
Yeah,
think we don't see
yeah.
that big picture. We think, oh, okay, Black August, because we're typically taught, Martin, Malcolm, we got that handful. But when it says study, you can read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books and still barely get the gist of all the work that they did, they accomplished, and what they fulfilled, what their ideologies were. This is really a lifelong study, even if it
Yeah,
is alongside fiction,
yeah.
even if it is alongside, other texts that we are reading. It's foundational to uplifting our personal self, learning about what our revolutionaries did.
By
Go
the
ahead.
way, I want to nudge you on something you said in private, and I said I was gonna bring it up on the show. You said we learned about civil rights to Barack Obama.
That's it.
Civil rights to Barack Obama. We just leapfrog into these black liberation movements, into these black resistance, black radicals. We just leapfrog the whole piece. Civil rights to Barack Obama. And it's like when you said that thing on the phone the other day, I was just driving like, wow, man, that's crazy. Cause like you saying, these revolutionaries were brilliant. We want to speak about their strength and their resistance and the black jackets and the black berets and the
Fly,
guns.
by the way, all flight, all
Yeah,
fly.
yeah. These people are studying world
Oh
politics.
my God.
So now, currently, speak on the war in Palestine, and we talk about different things. Some of the folks don't know their own backyard politics, let alone global politics.
Mm. Yeah.
Is these look at Mahmoud Abdul Jamal in prison right now, political prisoner. He in a jail cell, and this man talk about world events more than people walking around free right now.
Facts,
In
facts.
a jail cell, like the power of the mind like that. That's just
Yeah. But you
mind
would
blowing.
never know. You'd never know if you didn't tap in because a lot of times people are like, oh, if you say, well, what do you know about the party? Oh, they carry guns. Oh, they wore black, like Sean said with the berets. They don't know you don't know what they did, what they created, what they worked with. Like, you don't know what they
Yeah, but
studied.
wait, you know
Uh-huh.
what's crazy about that?
What's
The
that?
whole gun thing was very short lived, by the way.
By the way, and it was later
You see
on
the
that
Huey P. Newton documentary, the Huey P. Newton series on Apple TV right now? Huey had pivoted from the whole gun thing mad
facts.
early. But what it is about people, we love to glamorize, we love radicalized stuff. The gun stuff more fire than talk about food programs. The gun stuff more fire than acupuncture and checking on
Healing.
people for
Come on now.
diabetes and blood. The gun stuff more glamorous. And so many folks is joining the party for that.
True, true, true.
If they go to a meeting where Hewitt and Chase, they're like, man, what this dude talking about? And we see all the fractions and the splinters in the party because some folks are on that gun hole. We want to ride on somebody.
Facts.
We want to draw down on somebody. They don't want to hear about no other healing and growing and learning.
And that's why it's
So the
important.
media
I love
focus on
that.
that.
Because it says study. You have to study. Like you said, what did they say? Malcolm X has a book, Malcolm Speaks. Stokely Carmichael has a book, Stokely Speaks. So you can hear about the things that they did. Stokely has a long list of things that he did for the community, straight up in Alabama, Lowndes County, even with commemorating the Panther and helping make that the symbol of the party. Like, it was all these communications with all these dope philosophical, political leaders before they were quote unquote demonized. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to read. I'm really happy that we're commemorating, because I've heard different perspectives on whether we should be celebrating or commemorating. Like, I don't even know if those are two separate things, but Dr. Greg Carr said it's the commemoration because people were murdered, people were assassinated. You know, we want to celebrate. In my opinion, we should celebrate it because at least we know about their stories. We know about their accomplishments. So their spirit lives within us and what we create. But on the flip side of that, it is a commemoration because we lost so many incredibly talented, incredibly intelligent people. Minus all the stuff that they did, really incredibly talented people, even still now locked up in jail. And they could charge us to listen, to just sit at their feet and hear what they have to say on a philosophical level, on a Pan-Africanist, internationalist, communalism. You know, this is not something like you can just say, oh, Martin did this and they did that. It's more deep than facts. Yep. So that's why we have to continue to speak about Black August and live through Black August, because that's, you know, we share in the spirit. We stand in solidarity and unity with so much, but can we save a piece of that solidarity for our people who were assassinated, for us doing right, doing good, creating programs and liberation for us, the United States, you know, average Black Americans. So thank y'all for giving me a moment to go in right there as we get started in this presentation.
Talk to the talk, man. Talk to the talk.
Yeah, go in. I'm just sitting back. I'm enjoying the whole thing, man. And Zane said if someone doesn't speak for Black August, it will be forgotten. That's a fact, brother. That's a fact. Our good sister, I can't pronounce your name right. I just know you as the chatty bookish chick or Instagram. Shout out to her. Yeah, we'll be on her platform also this Saturday coming up. They don't teach us about the revolutionary because they don't want us to band together and rise up like that. Yeah. And when we do that, you see they send people in to infiltrate the things that we got going on. You know, we always see that, right? You know, and assassinating some of our great leaders who was a part of these organizations and the rallies and protests, right? You know what I'm saying? To scare us off. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, it kind of worked because that they did, our ancestors did. We not doing the work. We not doing that work anymore. And we're actually the work that they done, we are undoing it. They are undoing the work, right?
Right.
We don't get it. And I'm gonna say this: if we don't stand on those shoulders of the ancestors who put the work in and take their work and move it forward, you know what I'm saying? We gonna be back in chains. We gonna be back in chains. I'm telling y'all.
This is what I say, Kofi. This is what I always say for years. If the ancestors could raise up from the dead for like an hour and just look around the landscape, you'll be like, damn, like, what did this for what? And if the old slave masters could raise up from the dead for an hour and look around, they're gonna be like, boy, that shit work.
Yep.
Everything we playing work. I've been saying this for years about that concept. If they could raise up from the dead for an hour and look around, they're gonna be like, boy, that thing works.
And it's because of our reading level. To me, it's because of our reading level. And I know that the other parts of Black August are important, the fasting, exercising. You know, I even skipped my wine today. I had got some tea, trying to do right by the people. But all these things are important, but actions and philosophy have to go together. And that's what we learn too from these leaders. You have people want to talk philosophy all day long, but what are you doing? And the people who created these liberation movements merged that so good that it's so much to read and unpack because so many people were involved. And there's no way, even on this episode, that we can list you all the people who were active and busy and were speakers and, you know, creators of these programs. That's why you got to take it up for yourself, study. And it's fun because you like, dang, we had a free breakfast program. We was giving away free shoes. We was making clothes. We had schools. Like,
Yes.
there's
Most-
the depth
And
of
now, school teachers are inboxing and emailing me talking about their school library don't have books.
insane.
Could you please donate us some books because our school library don't have enough books? And guess what? I'm letting the children borrow my personal books.
Wow,
Could y'all please donate me some books?
that's
That's
insane.
crazy.
because the budget, they don't have the budget no more because they basing
But
everything.
you find a way. But these same schools find a way to get rid of books.
Yes,
Or
correct.
they
And
want
literally
to
throw
build a
away.
stadium. They found money for stadium.
Yeah,
I saw a video in Chicago on Facebook. It showed a big old long trailer full of all these books. They're going to throw them out. I mean, it was full stacked to the brim. This big, long. You know how many jails need books? How many schools need books?
Facts.
yeah.
How many communities need books? Y'all find the ability to go and just throw them away? See how these contradicting things are happening?
Yeah. And they even created something, y'all, in Texas. I'm glad you brought up the books situation because my homegirls at Two Peas in a Pod, they had started a book club called De Facto Books, where they were basically, it was a prison book club. They were able to get books in, and they were doing just that. But then the laws changed and the rules changed, and so now they have more difficulty getting the books in, or they can't at all. And we walking around here don't want to go to our Black bookstores, or we don't want to see what's going on in the community. We really don't. We talk about community, but we really ain't immersing ourselves in anything besides work and going home. And we talked about that earlier too, with the class being an immersive class, because when have you sat down and focused on, on your people, what they did, what you can do, what you can build? We don't immerse ourselves anymore. And Black August and the revolutionary work that was done by so many people, it deserves that immersive experience just as good as we would study any other series or any other trilogies and things like that. We need to, make sure we keep a revolutionary in our pockets, because as we encounter things in the world, we need to know what they said, what they stood for, how they came to their solutions. We need to know that for our own personal, engagement.
The powers that be so slick. Most times, the more peaceful get along part of a thing is more talked about, right? So many more folks know W.E.B. Du Bois and all that, way more than Marcus Garvey, right? A lot more folks know a ton more about MLK versus Malcolm X. A lot of folks know a whole lot about the civil rights movement and all these other kind of things, way more than Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, like Kofi said, Black Guerrillas, like all these. They had hundreds of things like Black Panther Party that's not talked about.
Facts.
You won't find it. You got to be really, really in your bag to go and look for that, go dig for that. But this other stuff is in your face, like right there, like bam, yeah. But these other things, you got to really, really dig for these things, man.
And it's fun.
We love it.
I love it. I love it.
I'm fun.
I love it. I
I
love
love a
it.
good scavenger hunt. You know what I'm saying? You ain't scared me, but for the masses, though,
Yeah. Yeah, that's sad, man. So, Dr. Ashley Wade.
Yes,
You're the first person we want to highlight.
absolutely. So I'm going to highlight, I'm reading this book right now. This is a literary podcast, and we are going to, refer to our books. We love that. We hope y'all enjoy that part of what we do as well. Reading this book right here, To Die for the People. So I've read several books about the party. Again, I read Black Panther Speaks, read some Stokely Carmichael. I haven't sat and actually read anything laid out that Huey said. I learned about the 10-point program in other texts. I learned about some of the philosophies that he studied from other texts, but I hadn't actually sat down and checked out what he said. So this is my first time like going through some of his mandates and going through the 10-point program and then learning about the people that he learned from this book. So this is incredible. It's got some pictures in it. I'm not done with it, but stay tuned because, you know, we're going to read together and learn together because that's what we do. So Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Later, Huey did decide to remove that for self-defense piece because people was getting it confused, like Sean said earlier, as being like only a militant organization. But it was founded with him and Bobby Steele. They founded it on October 15 in 1966 in Oakland, California. Its initial purpose was to patrol Black neighborhoods, protecting the residents from police brutality, because you have to understand the timeline of how things were going on. We needed protection. Stuff was going on in our communities, and the Panthers was tired of it. And plus, we had our rights to bear arms. So we went in violation. You know, that's how smart these brothers were. And they did police the police, because that's the question that we always ask, like, who's going to police the police? Mm-hmm. And that's what the Panthers initially were doing. But check out how deep their ideology was. And that's why it's so important to highlight Huey and the people that he worked with in the party, because he was never on some, I want to take the credit type stuff. He was all on some, we doing this, we make executive decisions, we do this, we follow what the people want. So it was a completely different ideology than what we see in our current politics, because they ain't doing nothing for us. They ain't worried about doing nothing for us. So this is a whole perspective on somebody who created a program or a party, and people helped people. It actually gave and created for the people, unbelievably, right? So the ideology was Black nationalism. Okay, whoa, that scares some people. But really just understanding yourself, you know, where you came from, how you got here, what your people did. That's what that means in a nutshell, but without people be getting too scary about it. Socialism, helping each other, programs for needy people, not where we can condemn and judge them. Oh, you on the welfare, blah, blah, blah. But creating a place where people felt comfortable coming to get shoes, clothes, food, breakfast, you know, in assistance of the rest of your day and your life and your livelihood. And they did believe in armed self-defense against police brutality. Notice key statement, against police brutality. So people weren't just walking around bearing arms because they could. That was at work to protect our communities. And imagine that level of safety in your community. You got people, you know, walking around doing their job, making sure we don't have Sandra Massey's and Breonna Taylor's, and you know what I'm saying? Like a safeguard. So it's more than what you think it is. Yes, it was helpful, you know, personally, professionally, but definitely in the community. And that's what we want y'all to know. So definitely check out Huey Newton. The timeline, look at this. We had the civil rights era from 1954 to 1968, right? We had that. We had our accomplishments. We did our thing. But on the back of that is where the party era comes in, 66 to 82. So on the back of, we just gonna, you know, having the nonviolence piece, the young people was like, we really ain't for that, like they was for that. Young people, Stokely Carmichael, Huey Newton, Bobby Steele was on some stuff like, nah, we about to stand up for ourselves. So that's what you're going to be seeing when you look into their stories, you look into their writings, you're going to see that self-determination piece that they wanted not only for themselves, but other people in the community. One huge point is that there's so much to learn, y'all. You know, we talked about this earlier. You can't learn everything in one book. If you've read To Die for the People and you haven't read Black Panther Speak, you still got a lot to learn. If you haven't researched Frank Hampton, Angela Davis, same. I still have so much to learn. So many of the leaders I haven't even touched in my reading, but I'm headed there. And that's another point that we want to call out. And you have to learn this type of these lessons on your own. You can't expect to get these from the current educational system. You can barely expect to get this from your elders, depending on who you got as an elder. You know, people don't talk about this. Sean mentioned earlier, Kofi mentioned earlier, they learned about the Deacons of Defense, me too, late. What if we had people in the community that was like, hey, let me put my brothers aside, my kids aside, and implant these pieces of information in a safe way where people feel empowered. You know, you got to learn about the Huey, Stokely, George Jackson. That's who August is predominantly about, because George Jackson was murdered. He was in jail, and he was creating revolutionary people in jail. You know, who knows about that? Who knows about that? These are, talk about being unstoppable. You know, talk about being a self motivator. You know, he's in jail, convicted of something where he took a plea deal. I'm not gonna go into that, but I'm like, and he's still in jail, not defeated. And a lot of our political prisoners and people in jail weren't defeated. They were still organizing in jail. And so you'll see real leadership. You'll see real leadership. You'll see that the Black Panther Party founded over 60 community survival programs. We get stuff through the government today. So all these things, and they had seminars and clinics and sickle cell testing. And what they were really doing was applying pressure. Like, okay, we're not about to fall for y'all's gimmicks. We're going to protect ourselves, and we're going to mobilize our people. So, you know, there's so much more to look into. The 10-point program, the fact that Huey took very scientific analysis and approach to things that were going on in the community. He wasn't like, okay, we just gonna fix issues. He was tying it to intercommunalism and internationalism and being in that whole spectrum of understanding and teaching. And he had a squad. And he also mentioned this. And Kofi, if you don't mind pulling up one of those, the photos of the with the guns, our people with the guns. He said revolution is a process, not a particular action, nor is it a conclusion, because a lot of people misunderstand revolution as a process, self-development as a process, being able to create sustainable programs as a process. We don't see things as a process. We want the microwave piece. So he was helping people understand how growth actually takes place in our lives and our community based on his research. So we definitely, he was in 1967, as I finished right here about Huey, he was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and the death of a police officer. Here we go again, Sean P. His imprisonment sparked protests and the rally cry, Free Huey. That was an international thing. The conviction was overturned and he was released from prison. So shout out to the people who were able to be released from prison, Angela, Huey, and a host of others. But also shout out to the revolutionary prisoners who are still in prison right now, for speaking up, standing up for what they believe in.
Yeah. I just want to say, man, I love that picture right there. Look at them behind them.
They didn't know what to do. Huey says that in this book. He was like, when we showed up in our communities, they didn't know what to do when we had ours, because what rule were we breaking?
Because guess what? They had taken the time. It wasn't an all of a sudden thing. They studied the literal laws in the state of California. They studied the literal policing books on how far could I be from an officer. Whenever you're quote unquote wanting to search me and wanting to know whatever, what I can and can't say, they knew it down to the law. And that's why they were so upset about that, because they knew these guys wasn't just willy-nilly. People forget one thing. His proper name is Dr. Huey P. Newton. His proper name is Dr. Huey P. Newton. People forget about that part. These ones, people always want to paint the picture like, you know what, a bunch of us got together online right quick, started a little group chat, we going down to the courthouse tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It wasn't like that. These folks were organizing and strategizing. Back to reading the actual MLK books he wrote, whenever he's writing about how much planning went into every civil unrest thing they did, they knew on this day of the week, Kofi, you going to jail. We're going to spring you out of jail. On this day of the week, Dr. Wade go to jail. You get out of jail, and then this person going to do that. It was a whole plan. But we see certain injustices now, and we get upset about it, get reactionary. We do a big old mass group chat. Come on, y'all, tomorrow we're going down to Baton Rouge and cut the bridge off. We're going to just go and line across the bridge, no plans, no nothing. Sean, you coming? Hell no, I ain't coming. That's a bloodbath. Y'all just doing stuff with no planning. You know what? We going down there, we going to the mall, we gonna shut the mall down.
Right.
Like, what? You just being reactionary. They were planning. They were all.
Yes, and that's the difference. You know, that's the difference. You know, than being a reactionary. You know what I'm saying? That's what an organizer and a planner is. You know, and a lot of people get that, oh man, we gonna go like you just said. You want to react to something that just happened, right? And then you say you done organize the people. You ain't you. Oh yeah, you done set them up. You set the people up for a bloodbath, a crash out without even thinking and strategizing on and approaching it in a intellectual way. You know, where if this happened, we got this in place. If this happened, we got this in place. We're gonna do it this way so it won't look like we're exciting a riot. We're gonna do it this way to organize people. If this happens in this place, we have money allocated to come get this person here out of just so you
Right.
know. And that's what they was. They was, you know, and that's what I love so much about the ancestors is, you know, they was thinkers, man. They were
Right.
intellectuals. These weren't no rare people. I mean, and a lot of people, we don't highlight them in that aspect as being rare, as being these intellectuals, you know, these people. We always said it was for the people, but we not highlighting them in that aspect and putting them on that high regards because that's what they was doing. They was doing some out of ordinary things, and they was fearless. They was fearless. You know, they was fearless at what they was doing, man. So, you know, I just love the ancestors for, you know, the things that they done. That's why I hope that one day we are able to get back in our right minds
Facts.
and we able to start again standing on their shoulders, because right now, again, I'm gonna keep repeating, we are undoing all of the work that they have put in, blood, sweat, tears, you know what I'm saying,
Loss.
death, jail, you know, for us to have some of these liberties and some of these ways we able to move and some of the opportunities that we have today. It is because of them, but now we are undoing the work. We supposed to be championing and moving their work forward, right? Right. We supposed to be acting, right? So yeah, man.
We're not doing this. We're not
Yeah.
uplifting our ancestors because we sleep.
Yeah, we
That's all,
sleep.
Kofi.
Yeah, we sleep. Sean, you want me to go or you go? It don't matter to me.
You can go ahead and go up next.
Okay, so I'll be talking. Let me pull this brother here up on the screen. Show people. This is an old picture, and I'll show a new picture of him. So this is a picture of Delbert or Africa. This is a brother who was a part of the Black Panther Party. He was a part of the chapter down in Chicago. He's from Chicago, and he was a part of the Black Panther Party. He moved to Philadelphia. He joined another organization, which I meant, but this here is another picture of the brother. He passed not too long ago, right out. He was a political prisoner. He was a part of the Move 9. We're going to talk about the Move 9. He was a political prisoner, stayed and had got, I think, almost 100 and some years, the Move 9. And he was released a couple of years ago and wasn't out, didn't taste freedom, but some months before he actually transitioned into the ancestral realm. Right. So let's talk about Delbert Orr, Africa, y'all. Let's talk about him. Delbert Orr, Africa. He was a co-founder of Move. This was an organization he became a part of when he moved from Chicago to Philadelphia. He was a Black Panther Party member. And when he moved to Philadelphia, he joined this organization in Philadelphia called Move. And that was what it was. The owner, John Africa, wanted the people of that organization to move. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Members of Move organization, the Black Liberation Group, formed in 1972 in Philadelphia. They advocated environment, justice, animal rights, and the returns to natural way of living. Some of the things about the Move organization that Delbert was a part of, I kind of disagree with when it comes to, they was opposed to technology. They was opposed to medicine and a few other things. They was an organization that moved on the natural way of living, right? You know what I'm saying? And they was activists for animal rights, but they was also political activists against police brutality, right? Because they was suffering in the hands of police brutality. David Orr Africa, and the other members of MOVE, who all last names was Africa. Every last member that you study, every last one of them changed their last name to Africa. In prison following the 1978 movement confrontation, David Orr Africa was one of the MOVE 9, a group member arrested and convicted after a violent confrontation in Philadelphia police in 1978, which resulted in the death of a police officer. David Orr Africa served 42 years in prison before he was released in 2020. Now, I'm going to stop right there and I go on now. These people, like I said, they was activists. They was moving in the community, right? They was against police brutality. You know, they believe in a natural way of life and so forth. They was against, you know, killing animals and so forth, right? So they was able to establish a compound in Philadelphia, and the neighbors started complaining against them. I'm talking about this incident that happened actually in 1977 that sprung the 1978 that got 9 of the MOVE members convicted along with David Orr Africa. The complaint that happened in 1977. So the government wanted the MOVE organization to move out of the land and the compound. We bought this. And now you trying to tell us to move out because you don't want us there, because they didn't like what these guys, these gentlemen and gentlelettes was doing. If gentlelettes a word, ladies and gentlemen were doing. And so they was at a standoff, right? And even at their protest, they was the same, because a lot of them, I'll say a lot of them come from the Black Panther Party. So they come from that movement. So when they rallied and protest, they was also armed as well, right? So when these police come to their home to remove them from something that they paid for, they had a standoff with the police. But during one of their rallies, a few of the MOVE members was arrested for, you know, they always saying that when we're rallying together and organized, you're exciting a riot. Mm-hmm. So they locked them up. So they negotiated and told them, hey, if you release our members, we will leave the compound. Mm-hmm. So they released them, but they didn't leave. We're not leaving somewhere that we paid for. So we sprung an incident in 1978 that now they back on a standoff. Now they coming in shooting. So these people are protecting themselves. So, and what's so crazy that a lot of people don't talk about, the police officer that was killed, the gunfire came from one of his police that shot and killed him. And they found out the evidence, but still convicted 9 members of the MOVE organization, which David Orr Africa was a part of, and sentenced them to over 100 and some years. But he was recently released in 2020 after serving 42 years of being innocent for protecting themselves in their compound, and didn't nail one of the members, killed the police officer, but the gunshot came from one of its own police officer, and that shot was the one that killed the police officer, right? Mm-hmm. So that what sprung that incident in 1978, and which the MOVE 9 was convicted over 100 and some years, including David Orr. Surviving the police brutality during 1978 confrontation, David Orr Africa was brutally beaten by the police officer, and the incident captured on camera. So they got all this on camera. The footage became iconic and highlight issues of police brutality, particularly against Black activists. Advocates and prisoners' rights. While incarcerated, David Orr Africa became an advocate for prisoner rights, focusing on harsh conditions within the U.S. prison systems and the plights of political prisoners. But also we know that they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, you know, the United States bombed in their own country. The Philadelphia Police Department had a helicopter, and it dropped bombs on the MOVE compound, bombed it. And later on in 1999, some of the MOVE organization members that still living in their lineage was awarded, I think, 1.9 million. And then in 20 something, they was awarded like 19.3 million. And even the people in that community was awarded millions of dollars later on when they filed a civil suit against the state of Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying, for all of the damage, right? So we're seeing that the police department has always had an issue against us and also had an issue against our organization, who was always fighting for our human rights, for our liberty, you know what I'm saying, social, political, and economically. So there is my piece, David or Africa. And a lot of those members, I want to show those members, they also, like I said, adopted the Black Panther Party ideology, because a lot of them was members. And here is a picture of them. They also, all of them had locks. All of them, his name was Africa, and all of them had locks. You know, they kind of adopted the Rastafarian style too, of wearing locks. So everybody wore locks. And as I went down the rabbit hole, a whole connection of David L. Orr and the MOVE organization had a awkward connection with the Black Panther Party later on in life. One of the members who killed Huey P. Newton was a part of the MOVE organization. And a lot of black, you know, so it's crazy. Yeah, so I was looking, so I'm like, and I ain't gonna go further in detail of why this happened between Huey P. Newton and one of the members of MOVE, and even it having a strength or an awkward thing on the Black Panther, who were part of the Black Panthers, who entered into the prison system, who became prisoners of war, and some of the MOVE members, the MOVE 9, for an example, that was prisoners of war, political prisoners. It was an awkward relationship, but then later on, a lot of the Black Panther parties joined the MOVE organization as well in prison. So it kind of changed the dynamic, but that dynamic came when one of the members that became free, that was in prison, I can't think of the guy's name, but he actually killed Huey P. Newton.
Yeah.
Various reasons, you know, I don't know. There's so many different accusations. I don't want to throw out accusations because I'm not sure of exactly what happened. But I was like, damn, when I went down, I'm like, wow. So you see the connection. You see the connection right there, man. So
yeah.
So there you have it.
Piggyback on the back of that, man. For those that's listening, the recent book that came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago on the MOVE, written by Mike Africa Jr., right? Speaks about the history and the breakdown.
I need to get that. I want to get that book.
Organization, and his parents were in prison for 40 years. They've just been released recently. He is the son of those people, and he was a child whenever the MOVE bombing in Philadelphia happened. He was probably 6, 7, whatever years old whenever that happened to those people. Women died, children died by the hands of our government. And the On the MOVE book, I'm like 7 chapters into it, the audio version. So far, it's amazing. Like Kofi said, they had a lot of different ideas that's different for a lot of different reasons. But I was blessed to speak to Mike Africa Jr. on the phone last week. I'm trying to get him to be a guest on the show. I'm trying to get a full-out podcast with the brother one-on-one to lay out his opinions, thoughts, and beliefs of MOVE organization. We ain't got to speculate. Say it for himself. So we're working on that in the background as we speak.
And Juju, Juju said the MOVE organization was extremely problematic, but we ready to have that conversation. So you might want to tune in when he get that. I'll definitely send you the link, Juju, if he booked the brother on his platform. And on the book.
Read the book.
And that's the name of the book, On the MOVE.
On the MOVE. On the MOVE.
They coined that. You know the MOVE movement. That's how they greeted each other.
Yeah, on the MOVE.
On the MOVE. On the MOVE. On the MOVE. So a lot of people, and I heard this phrase coming up as a young boy. I'm on the MOVE, cat. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. We on the MOVE. So I heard this phrase and I wasn't even born. So I heard this phrase of me growing up on the move and
So
me.
let's do the through line, right? So Malcolm X, in his assassination, sparks a lot of the Black Panther stuff, right?
Mhm.
Huey P. Newton knows that.
Right.
On the heels of them, spark a lot of things for moves, like the timeline,
Mm-hmm.
the ideology of arming ourselves.
Yes.
Let's get in our own land.
Mhm.
Right.
All the free the land. Another phrase, free the
Mhm.
land.
Right.
Yep.
Get our own land, get our own property, get our own compounds.
Yep.
Nation of Islam thinking, Elijah Muhammad, you know what? America's so jacked up. Look, give us this land in the South. We can grow our own stuff, have our own stuff, be to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? All of these concepts and precepts that form these organizations as the time's going by.
That makes sense.
Yep.
And again, they didn't all have the same ideology. Like we look at the Panthers, we look at the move. There was another group that the Panthers didn't get along with as their ideology changed, because what people don't understand is like Huey wasn't like, I got all the answers. He changed. They changed the Black Panther Party from self-defense to just the Black Panther Party. It was evolving. It was changing. And as the principles changed, some people didn't vibe with it, but they vibed with this other group that was more radicalized or that they thought was more Pan-African or whatever. And there was this imbalance of who should we follow instead of like a coming together.
Not the way. I thought about this in private last year when the book, The American Family, another good book to go and get. American Family. Whenever he's laying out the Shakur family, and thinking of like how fast the Black Panther Party took off across the nation, that is. First of all, there's no cell phones, there's no Zoom calls, there's no group text. Like, this thing take off. You have all these splinters of chapters, Chicago, East Coast, other places, down here in New Orleans, right? They all got their own idea of what this should be, how we think it should go.
Right.
And so sometimes the East Coast chapters and the West Coast chapters wasn't on the same page, because it's like, man, we ain't doing that over there. We ain't getting out of that. Are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
So it was so fast. It wasn't a time to. It wasn't a time to have like one cohesive voice saying, "Look, we moving like this. We doing that." It wasn't like that. And when Huey goes to jail for all that time, he's in jail. So a lot of things are flying by the seat of his pants, right? Mm-hmm. And other members are going into exile. Right. Other folks getting assassinated, Fred Hampton. So they cut the head of the snake off, like they say. That's a military tactic. The government used. So all the people are in disarray. All the people are discombobulated, if you will. Just trying to grab at straws, man. Trying to guess.
Yep. Oh, ooh, I'm enjoying this, man. I'm enjoying.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. You up next, my brother. Me brother. You up next, me brother.
So we're going to the main event, right? While we're doing this whole entire thing, we're talking about the Soledad brothers, right? I'm talking about the first book, Soledad Brother. The Soledad prison riots, 1970. A violent prison riot erupted at Soledad State Prison in California. 3 inmates, George Jackson, Felita Drongo, and John Clochetti, were charged with the murder of a white prison guard. Now, Dr. Wade said it earlier. Said, Sean, here we go again. You see this common theme going on and on again about a cop being killed or a prison guard being killed. Mm-hmm. Little small pause. This is the wild part about studying history for a long time, right? I ain't gonna lie to nobody. It gets repetitive. Facts. You know why? The government run the same plays over and over again, and we still fall for it. You ever watch football and they run the same sweep, doing it again, and they still getting touchdowns? So the government realized, okay, another black leader, we're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, they're gonna get all in an uproar, it's gonna die down. Same hook, line, and sinker. So we're seeing the repetitiveness as you read more and more history. Like, I know where this is going. I've seen this before. You get halfway in the book, I know where this is going. I know what happened with that. Because it is like that. I'm not going to lie, right? So let's keep going. So known as the Soledad brothers, they became symbols of Black power movement and the struggle against racial injustices within the American prison system. The trial and public outrage. The trial of the Soledad brothers were closely followed by the public and garnered significant media attention. Despite overwhelming evidence pointing to their innocence, they were convicted and sentenced to death. the case sparked widespread protest and outrage, as many people believed the men were framed due to their activism and association to the Black Panther Party.
Mm.
George Jackson's escape and death. In 1971, George Jackson escaped from San Quentin State Prison. He was later killed in a shootout with the police at a Merriam County courthouse. His death further fueled the controversy surrounding the Soledad brothers case and cemented his legacy as a martyr for the Black Power movement. The aftermath and continued activism. The case of the Soledad brothers had a profound impact on the civil rights and prison reform movements. The public outcry and legal challenges brought attention to the systematic racism and abuses within the American prison system. The case also inspired a generation of activists to fight for social justice and equality. Soledad Brothers' legacy, the Soledad Brothers story continues to resonate today. Their struggle for justice and their association with the Black Panther Party have made them enduring symbols of resistance and hope. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the ongoing fight for racial equality and human rights. Now, a part of this case, right, a part of this story, you have the sister, Angela Davis.
My girl.
Angela Davis, she was helping them with their legal situation, right, while they was in jail. So a part of the whole thing that happened with the Soledad brother, his brother Jonathan, Jonathan Jackson, and the whole shootout at the courthouse and all this stuff happened, the gun he used, they're saying, was Angela Davis's gun. This is why, when this book first started, it's Angela Davis on a run in New York, trying to put a disguise on, trying to hide from the cops. Because now she's affiliated with the killing of this judge and all this stuff was over. See the through line with this. This is not today's topic. But this book started off, the first few pages, she on a run. Why is she on a run? Soledad brothers.
And her love, the love for the people.
Come on, man.
And her and George, Angela and George, was on a communicative level. That's how you know they was doing some building. Because we know Angela was on a philosophical level. Look at her studies. George was on that same level. They was vibing on with these letters. I'm so glad, Sean, that you was like, we got to address these Soledad brothers. We got to address George and Jonathan. Come on now.
Yes.
George and Jonathan Jackson.
Yeah, you mentioned. Go ahead.
No, the continued struggle, right? So now let's go to current, because all that sounds cool and fly, the 60s, the 70s. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. But now, we're talking about abolition for the people. This is Colin Kaepernick, press, edited. Abolition for the people. All the people now talking about injustices. And whenever you read Soledad Brother and read the actual letters of George Jackson, again, his actual writings, what he said. He's describing the prison environment. He is describing the day-to-day life. He is describing how inhumane this thing is. In 2024, we are not that far.
Speak.
In 2024, we are not that far. Talking about the policing, mass incarceration, all these concepts, right? Talking about defunding. We're talking about all these terms and situations. Stop and frisk. All these things, police quotas. All this stuff is still happening, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. It definitely is. Definitely is. Run 41 fake. Yep.
And here's the thing, too. You know, y'all lighting the chat up. Shout out to the chat.
Yeah, they on.
You know, I love the conversations that are going on in there. And let me see. I think it was the Black Book Club that made a statement that we need to look at every organization in a complete fashion so we can pull the lessons and warnings. That's deep right there. And that's what people miss about nonfiction. People get so caught up in wanting to disconnect, unplug. Fiction looks so good. And I'm with fiction. I'm with historical fiction. I love a good murder mystery. I love a good, but this is what we need. Our need is here. The warnings are there. The lessons are there. And that's what we need as people. But we keep looking outside of ourselves for instruction, direction, guidance, understanding, or we look in what other cultures are doing. What may work for them doesn't work for us. Like Kofi said when we started out. And, we have to do things that work for us, but we're not looking to the people who necessarily made that depth of change, from our political prison. Ask yourself why they was locked up. Why were they framed? Why? And why would they kill a police officer? They in a party. They got this 10-point program. Why would they be involved themselves in the law when they're trying to protect people from the law? And it just drives you further into study. And also present day. Sean brought up abolition. We need to have these conversations. This is what we need to be talking about. Folks want to look and be like, okay, we need all the things. We need the reparations. We need our land back that y'all stole. But who talking about that? Who talking about land back that y'all stole?
Free the land. Free the land.
These revolutionaries, these are the people that are really talking straight up truth. And they're saying, no. Let's address the fact that y'all been doing this for years. Let's address the fact that all this colonialism, this imperial, let's address all that. Because some people like to sweep that on the rug. We're going to forgive you, master, if you give us what we asking for. You know what I'm saying? We'll kindly forgive you. No. That wasn't the approach. But we wouldn't know that because we think, oh, Black Panther, self-defense, that piece. We missed the lessons. We missed the guidance. Huey says Black people doing revolution wrong. But we still protesting in the streets. We still doing things that put us in the line of fire. No strategy, like Kofi said, but ain't nobody going to the sources of this type of solution-driven information.
You know what else too? I say it all the time. We have an all or nothing mentality for some reason. Like, if I'm down with the Nation of Islam, I ain't dealing with nothing with y'all over here.
Right.
If I'm down with Move, I ain't dealing with this. If I'm down with 5%, I ain't dealing with that.
Right.
Instead of being more fluid, like, you know what, I'm gonna get the best of this, I'm gonna get the best of this, I'm gonna get the best of that. Because I don't take any of it hook, line, and sinker. Any of it.
Yes, fact.
You have your problems with every organization out there in the world. There is no perfect organization.
Yep.
So be more like a mental mixed martial artist, I call it. I'm gonna take a little bit of this, I'm gonna take a little bit of that. Man, the Moors talking about this, I'm gonna take a little bit of this. Y'all talking about what? I'm gonna take a little bit of that. I'm not taking any of them wholesale. Because they're man-made things. They got their own things with them. We all know that. That's not groundbreaking news, you know what I'm saying?
And they each have their vices. Huey was into a lot of other stuff later on in his life after he got out of prison, after he was in, before and after he went out of exile. These are human beings. They have their own vices. So people gonna, even Stokely, ain't no telling what he was up to, but people gonna be like, well, he was not good. Well, what good did he give?
Yeah,
Focus on the good that he gave. Or, Huey P. Newton was a womanizer. Hey, he was fine. Okay, what y'all?
We love to nitpick, man. We want Jesus Christ himself to come back. We want that perfect.
You know what I'm saying? You got to understand.
You better not trip on the curb at McDonald's. You better not do nothing.
And that's
perfect. You gotta be perfect.
That's our downfall. And with what you just said, Sean, it's like you poked me, because some years ago I was in that same mindset where I didn't want to deal with certain people and certain organizations because I wanted to deal with whatever it is, even though I seen some good in some of the things, but I just didn't want to deal with the people, deal with the organization, and I wanted the bad shit, right? So I'm glad I'm out of that mindset. That's one reason why I removed myself from that community that I was a part of, because that's what they was about. And we'll never, because we going back and forward, tearing each other down and pointing out nothing is going to never be perfect, and we're never going to suit everybody. We just got to look at it for what it is, take what we can out of it, and apply it if it works. That's it. Also, real quick, and that's crazy. I have so many books, and I got books everywhere, and I done packed books. So my books, I don't be knowing where they at, and that's crazy. I was looking for this book last episode, and Sean mentioned, you know what I'm saying, the what's the name again? This is the book I recommend. We Will Shoot Back, right? The Armed Resistance in Mississippi Freedom Movement. So this is one of the books that I was looking at, right? This is another book that I just, Sean talked about. So I recommend both of these books. So if you
Let
want
me
to
get a
learn,
timeout, coach. Let me get a
Mhm.
timeout,
I knew
coach.
you was gonna do this, Sean.
Timeout, coach. Dr. Ashley Wade, our esteemed host, has a blurb in the new edition of that book, Kofi.
Yes, I know.
The new cover, the new book. Shout out
Mhm.
Dr. Wade for that.
Mhm. Yes,
Tell you.
we doing
Listen,
things. We doing
that book
things.
was that incredible. It was really incredible. Thank you for calling that out, Sean. I appreciate that for just reminding the people, because again, we talk about our resistance and our people. We look at Huey. We are yet learning that the Shakurs had a whole family dynasty laid out. The intersectionality between the Panthers and the East and West Coast, like you got to tap into those literary pieces to help you put the story together. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the brother who wrote that book, The American Family, Mr. Santi. Credible author. That book is good AF. If you want to find a place to tap into the Shakur family dynasty in the scope of what we're looking at as far as political
The
prisoners,
whole
Black
family. Lumumba, Matula.
baby. Listen, from the
Some we ain't
head,
never heard
the
of before.
patriarch.
You know what I'm saying? A Papina, the whole nine, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kofi.
Yeah, and this other one here, again, if you want to learn about the Deacons of Defense, this is a great book. If you want to learn about the
Write that
history of
down.
the Deacon of Defense, we will shoot back, right? So we mentioned that last episode, and Sean mentioned it today with Geronimo Pratt, right? So these are two books that we mentioned. Again, we always want to try to give. I got to do better myself with organizing. There go Geronimo Pratt book. Let me put it on Sean real quick. There you have it right there. The Geronimo Pratt book, thick book too. Yeah. So there you have, because we are a literary podcast. I gotta do better with organizing my books.
I didn't bring but the one. I just brought the couple, the one. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, what can I fit in my backpack?
Yeah, I can't find. Vasa add a question too. We'll move on to the next segment. He asked something. There's so many questions. We don't be able to get all these questions today.
Impossible.
All right.
Shout out to the chat.
Right.
Shout out to the chat.
I can't even find it. They talking so much. I can't even put it there as a time of peace and a time of war warriors. That's our good brother right there. What's going on? EY Pele
Yeah,
movement right
amazing
there.
brothers. Amazing brothers doing good work.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I gotta tap in. I gotta holler at you too, man. I gotta holler at you too. That's a great brother to be mentored by as well. One, and we also study the human side of political. I can't find your question, Vasa, but if y'all all had questions, I don't want to just go straight to yours and skip over a few people questions. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it my business today, sometime today or tonight, and I'm gonna go through the questions and then I'll answer them inside.
There it is, Kobe. There it is. You just said it again. About the Black August movement, I've never seen it personally.
Yeah, I never seen it.
I never saw it.
Yeah,
I'm open to tapping into it though, for real.
yeah.
If there's a visual, we will take the visual compilation of what they're
You know
trying to
what? So I speak on TV shows and movies a lot on my Instagram page. Some folks ask me, they be like, man, I don't really watch TV like that, or I don't like TV. And at one point, I didn't watch TV for years at a time myself. But I do find, as a curator, if I can advise a person to a TV series or a show, you might not read a big old book like this. But if there was a series on Geronimo Pratt, you might go and check out a 3-part series, something like that. So, yeah, I definitely advise go and find documentaries, find movies and short films on our ancestors to get your knowledge up. You might get curious enough to go and get the actual book. Check out that, Kofi. I feel it.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel it.
I need to tap into that. Come on, my sister.
I'm on it.
Yes.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
That's the one written by Jasmine Guy.
Yeah, this the one written. That's her on the back of the book. Right?
Okay.
Jasmine Guy. Yep. Connections again. Connections.
Yep.
Connections.
Yep. So let's get into my favorite segment, which is the last segment, is the woman segment. Again, over here, this platform is never going to be a male chauvinistic platform. Over here, we always want to honor our women, right? We always talking about men, and highlighting men. We definitely over here, we're going to continue to highlight our beautiful and intelligent and empowering women. So I'm gonna turn it over to our sister, Dr. Ashley Wade.
Yo, I really love this segment. I'm grateful that I get to do it because I mean, the women were so neat to learn about who were a part of the movement. If y'all been rocking with us for any amount of time, you know I absolutely love our sister Elaine Brown, who is still alive, well, and doing major work
Yes.
in her affiliation with the party. You may have heard a lot about Afeni, Asada. Um, I'm trying to think, Angela Davis, so many incredible women who were a part of the movement in some shape, form, or fashion. A lot of them did their own thing. They stood within their own right. They were speakers individualistically. They spoke on behalf of what was going on in the party. They spoke about what was going on with these police cases that a lot of them were into. She spoke a lot and she stood up with Geronimo Pratt. If you
Mhm.
take a look at her speeches, she speaks a lot about his court case. And there's just so many amazing people. So let me talk about specifically Kathleen Cleavers, who we're gonna lift up today. Again, there's so many of us to learn about across the diaspora, especially with in the party era. But the women, it's such a joy to learn about what the women were doing. You can look up speeches about Angela and be like, oh wow, Angela said this, she said that. But Kathleen Cleaver is another dope sister. And as I started reading about her, I was like, dang, she was born right here in my backyard. So her name was Juliette Kathleen Neal. She was born in Dallas, Texas. Did not know that. On May 13th, 1945, her parents were both activists and college graduates of the University of Michigan. Her father, Ernest Eugene Neal, was a sociology professor at Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. That's in the backyard, right here in East Texas. I grew up in Longview, so East Texas, Marshall, Wiley College, that's HBCU in the area. Her mother, Pearl Johnson, earned a master's degree in mathematics. So 3 years after she was born, her father accepted a job as the director of a Rural Life Council of Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, and they moved to a middle-class neighbor community in Alabama. So she's got her Southern roots. Later, her dad joined the Foreign Service and the family moved abroad. So she grew up in India, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Philippines. So just imagine as a young cultured girl growing up in all these places, getting to see a whole different way of life than just what's going on here in America as a young girl. So that was dope. And even Angela Davis, you'll see she spent a lot of time studying abroad. So that's something that's unique about our sisters who were working back then. They knew a lot about internationalism. You know, a lot of us over here were just getting put on to Pan-Africanism, internationalism. But, you know, Kathleen Cleaver was one, she grew up internationally. So she brought that piece to the table. Even Angela Davis studied abroad, brought that international piece to the table. So shout out to Kathleen Cleaver, who used her upbringing to fuel and join the Black Panther Party and stand up and speak and be engaged in the community like she was. Spending time in India exposed Kathleen to different beliefs, including socialism, communism, and nationalism. Her family returned to the United States after her brother died from leukemia. She attended George School, which was a Quaker boarding school in Philadelphia. She graduated with honors in 1963. She continued her education at Oberlin College and later transferred to Barnard College. Shout out to Barnard College. We will be there next year celebrating the Zora Neale Hurston. So many things are coming all together. It's crazy. So I'm really glad that I now know that when I go there to celebrate Zora, I can also commemorate Kathleen Cleaver, who went there. But she ended up joining SNCC. We talked about SNCC as an organization. So she joined SNCC and later joined the Black Panther Party. She even went into exile with Eldridge Cleaver. She spent a lot of time overseas with him when he was in exile, but she continued to study. She has a law degree from Yale Law School, and she's had multiple professorships and also worked as a law clerk in the U.S. Court of Appeals. So you'll see that a lot of the women who came up in the party, they were also intelligent. They were also very well learned, educated, and they put their efforts into partnering with people like Huey in the party. It aligned with how they understood the world. That's what people don't understand. These leaders understood the world, and they understood that you have to look at the world the way it is. This isn't just on a man level, on a female level. When they got together, this is how they approached their plans. So shout out to Kathleen Cleaver. She's still alive, by the way, working, speaking, connecting. So I encourage you to listen to her speeches, listen to her enthusiasm when she talks. When you look at her, you know, she's cute. She hit that light skin. She got her little fro tight. That was a statement for a woman to wear her natural hair, whether it was in a fro, whether it was in locks. You know, we don't talk about that level of confidence that the Black woman had to have in order to speak freely, talk about issues, and then show up authentically as herself, as a Black woman with her fro. Also displaying her culture and her love for her culture. You know, Angela Davis was wearing her, like, this was a whole part of the movement of that self-determination, self-love piece. And I love how the women embodied that in their fro. So what I'm saying is, listen to her speech, Kathleen Cleaver. Look, you can go on YouTube. She was an excellent orator, an explanationist. And that may be a new word that I created, so I may have to trademark that.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Good.
I like it.
Good. It sounds good. You need to go on the corner, copyright it, and trademark it now.
Help me trademark that.
Okay.
But she was really good.
Yeah.
She was good at explaining things. That's what they all were good at, explaining things. So she was a really good explanationist of what was happening in the world and in the party. And depending on what you listen to, you can see how devastated she was when the party started to split their different ways, and how she started seeing people murdered and all her friends being locked up, and she had to advocate. Like, you could tell the sister was tired, but she told it like it was. So I challenge y'all to go listen to some of her speeches and lift her up. Kathleen Cleaver, giving reverence to her in her life, that she's still here. And that's what we have the beauty of right now, is a lot of our female leaders are still alive. Angela Davis still on the move, out here working. Kathleen Cleaver, Elaine Brown just opened up some damn apartments in Oakland. Like, the work is still there. That's why we can't disconnect. We cannot afford to disconnect from Black August, because the work that we are doing now still needs to be done. The generation behind us, modern day Griots and Griottes, the generation behind us, they need to be activated. And we all need to be in a state of collective activation so that we can pop off and create movements and programs like the people that we're commemorating in Black August.
Yeah. I want to add on two things on what you just said, Dr. Wade. First of all, her parents. You know, I love biographies, and I love the first two chapters of biography, because most times in a biography, in the first 2 or 3 chapters, you hear the person's grandparents, who their parents were. Mm-hmm. And then to me, it made sense, like, oh, that's why you became so-and-so. Imagine the conversations at their dinner table. Imagine the conversations in their kitchen when they ride in the car. She's a little girl hearing her parents of this particular ilk, how they're talking, how they're communicating. Then she traveled a lot.
Did.
I always say the best education is travel. So if she was at world traveled already, when it comes to us to get understanding global politics, global ways of being, that's why these folks are so pan-African. They understood it's beyond our borders.
Yes, and that's all pan is. Pan means all. That's it. That's all it means.
And then even too, from the woman's standpoint, didn't mean to interrupt you, Kofi. We talk about Black beauty. We don't even understand it now. Now all the women got to have a BBL. We getting a lip injection. Speaking from a Black woman's standpoint, we have trouble with confidence. We don't. Oh, how am I? You know, confidence don't be low. I mean, don't be high. Self-esteem don't be high. But we don't. When we look back, we understand that it's easy for us to have confidence. Look at Angela Davis. Look at Kathleen Cleaver stand up there proud with her fro. Hello. You know, and it just troubles me that even to this day, we're like, oh, well, what about my this, my that? No, if we look back at the information, at the people, we can easily see that, hey, no, our people were proud. They didn't hold their head down. They held their heads up. They didn't, wear their presses when they was representing a party and, representing themselves. They chose to wear they afro.
Mm-hmm.
They chose to instill that type of power in themselves and in their community. That's why you can't have nothing but respect for Huey Newton and a lot of the leaders who came through, and that was their baseline, self-determination. And I don't know, I look good type stuff, but like, no, I'm amazing type stuff. Let me go demonstrate that amazingness and look good and with my beret on fly. But inside, this is what I believe. This is what I stand for. This is how I stand up for my people.
Yes. Because again, this is on the heels of all the Jim Crow stuff, right? On the
Yeah.
heels of all the, we just integrating a few years before that.
And that
So
was the
on the heels of that, look, I ain't gotta be in no primp and proper kind of thing to be in. Y'all, I'm gonna come over here as myself.
yeah.
I'm gonna show up. I'm going to debate in Congress like this. I'm going to debate in the court. Athena Shakur, in the court for herself, defending herself successfully. By the way, successfully defending herself as yourself. I ain't gotta do all that to be primp and proper for y'all. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and
I'm going
to
with me. I'm not doing
yeah,
it.
to me, us integrating was the worst freaking thing to ever to happen, man. Even people who disagree with some things that Martin did, far as because during that time you have the integrationists and the segregation movement. So Malcolm was for segregating, staying segregated, and Malcolm was for integrating. But later on in time, Martin began to feel the same way, man. He felt like he was integrating his people into a burning house. He understood the devastation that could happen, or what's going to happen with us integrating. And a lot of things that we fought for, it happened, man, and it kind of devastated and destroyed us.
I know I can't show it with my phone, the glare, right? But I'm reading this audio book right now, The Education of Blacks in the South, 1860 through 1935. 1860 through 1935. A lot of these black folks that started their own schools after slavery, even whenever free schools became available by the government, they still chose to send their kids to their own schools. We're taking care of ourselves, educating ourselves.
Yes.
We're doing all this. That's cool over there across town. We send our kids over here on purpose.
Yes.
And getting a thriving education with educators that care.
Yes.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even with a lack of resources and a lack of brand new books and a lack of facility, we don't have a brand new desk. We don't have a little chalkboard, but the intent of the teacher was so high. That was way better than going to get the brand new desk and the brand new book and the brand new, forget all the bells and whistles. What's actually happening over here?
Mm-hmm.
And our ancestors understood that, bro.
Yeah. Thanks. Yes. Yes, indeed. Give it up for this.
Quiet, man. Give us a
Fire.
Yes, I am really. I really enjoyed.
I appreciated this flow today, guys. Like this had a good flow to it.
Yeah,
it felt good the way it rolled out and the way we, disseminated the information. Folks was lighting the chat up,
Right.
Appreciate y'all for tapping in. And, we got some good feedback from y'all as far as what we're talking about, even new information. Y'all dropping gems over there. And that's what we like to see, that engagement and that learning piece.
Yep. So we definitely appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. If y'all enjoyed it and think somebody else may enjoy it, share the show out to them, and Dr. Ashley Wade is holding up the book. If you don't have our book, Acting on Your Dreams and Vision, go get the book, Acting on Your Dreams and Your Vision, today by going to www.SaneTreaty Publishing and get the brand new book, Acting on Your Dreams and Vision workbook. So we have a workbook to complement the main book. And if you tired of your situation and you want to learn how to take the proper steps needed, if you want to learn how to bring your dreams into fruition, you want to learn how to materialize the things that you're thinking about, if you vision yourself in a better position, go and register for the Acting on Your Dreams and Vision workshop, which starts September the 7th by going to readwithdrwade.com and register today. While again, it is still at 20% off for the class. So go register and get that 25% for you have to pay the full price. And invest in yourself. Start investing in assets and not liabilities. This workshop is again an asset. Guaranteed they're going to learn something. It's definitely going to be educational. It's definitely going to be a class setting, right? So you got to have, again, the workbook and the main book to be a part of the class. Tim just put it in. Action 25 is the promo code for the 25% off, right? Don't know how long the promo code going to be up there, but you need to go and act now. And again, and that's the perfect promo code, act. Again, let's start taking action. Action,
baby. Action,
That's it.
And not only that, like look at we talk about acting on your dreams and visions, but our depth is talking about Black August. So people who are talking about Black August created this book right here. Like culturally, you're gonna get your life together. Practically, you're gonna get your life together. Spiritually, you're gonna get your life together. It's up to you what you're trying to do.
Yes,
Oh, that rhymes. It's up to you what you're trying to do.
Yes, indeed, man. So again, man, we appreciate everybody, man, who tapped in. You know, we appreciate the people who stayed the entire show. We definitely appreciate y'all because we value y'all time, right? So we glad y'all enjoyed yourself because we definitely enjoyed ourselves with the dialogue. We'll be back next month for September with another great episode from the Griots Podcast. Be looking on social media for the things that we got coming out. We got something else that's around in the book.
Dr. Wade, where you going, Doc? Where you going? Tell the people where you going, Doc.
What you talking about?
What you going to tap in?
Event, you finna go tap in.
Yes. So my sisters over there at 2 Peas in a Pod, it's a podcast. They have highlighted Black women, local Black women all season. So there's about 8 to 10 Black women that they interviewed and chopped it up with. And first of all, they are amazing productionists. 2 Peas in a Pod Media. If you need assistance on, a certain type of marketing, certain type of content, definitely tap in with them. But they're dope. So I'm going to chop it up with them in person. I love in-person events.
Come on now.
In-person events.
You mean you put your face in the plate?
For lunch.
You putting your face in the plate?
All the women from the podcast. Huh?
You putting your face in the plate?
Hold on. Hold on. Let me see.
Chapter 4?
Let me see. Hold on.
Chapter 4?
Let me hold on. Somewhere. Let's all pull out our Bibles.
Yeah, it's in there.
Over too.
Man, y'all just tap into the book. I'm telling you, man. Just tap into the book, man. I'm guaranteed it's going to inspire you and motivate you. And we ain't even got to toot our horn because we wrote it. Go check out the reviews. We have got tons of reviews for this book. And
I'm about to some extra reviews that I got. Shout out to Miss Nikki.
Yeah, and all the reviews has been positive, you know what I'm saying? So we're sparking change, man. We're sparking the minds of people to act, right? So again, we'll appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all again. And, and check out all of our social media handles to see the various things that we got coming up. We got so many different things in the pot. We got 2 new announcements. We got an announcement that's coming in a couple of weeks. Then we got another announcement that's coming for something that we're going to kickstart in December. Then we got something else I need to talk to Dr. Ashley Wade about. Sean, I already know that we're going to kickstart something in 2026 that we're actually going to be the chairman of this Black Caucus thing. It's not a name for it yet, but we are definitely going to be in Washington, D.C. with that one in 2026. So, man, we just got so much stuff, man. So tap into us, man, so y'all can see what we got going on and y'all don't want to miss none of this and maybe possibly be involved in some of the stuff that we got, some of this good stuff, man. But on that note, man, peace, and we out of here. Yep, I'll leave y'all with the anthem. Let's go to the anthem for the Griots Podcast. We out of here, man.
Go, Griot. Go, Griot. Yeah, I'm in the city, I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages for the streets, though. Adios mio, can't forget about the Afro-Latinos. Brought their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of all. For the knowledge comes in the form of a Griot. In the form of a Griot. Go Griot.